What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Life Itself. We are here, and today we are coming at you with something a little bit different than how we usually get into our episodes. We want to say that we are starting off with a topic that weighs heavy on me, that has had a crazy impact on my life, on Brittany's life, and it's the education system, the school system, public schools, our experiences, what went on in school. By the way, before we get into this though, I gotta let you guys know that we're doing some renovations in the studio.
Holy shit. Hopefully you don't hear that saw.
So if you hear a saw, if you hear hammers, just know renovations are coming and we're doing big and great things to the Life Itself podcast. So that's that. But Brittany, how are you feeling? Say what's up.
No, I can't. I really am praying that you can't hear the saw the way that we could hear the saw.
Yeah, because this saw, we could hear, it's like, so.
I feel like my skull is vibrating.
Yeah, our skull is vibrating. But yes, like I said, first off, thank you everybody that has been watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, all of that good stuff. We love you guys. Today we are getting in to our experiences. This is crazy.
I think maybe we should
take a second.
Just pause for a second.
Like, come on, bro. Is this saw serious?
The saws are actually, guys, our first guest is the saw.
Everybody welcome our first guest to Life Itself, the saw. Let's go. Oh, man. It's so funny because usually, things like that don't happen. But it's funny that the first time that we're trying to really talk about a subject right off the gate, something that's really affected our lives, and we have our friend the saw here.
Our friend the saw.
So yeah, that's cool. But
well, he just he took a break, so
yeah, he's on break right now. Maybe he's going to get lunch or something.
Yeah. But anyway. Today we want to talk about the school system, your experience with the school system. You've had an insane experience. It's been very different. Oh, now our co-star, the Hammer.
The Hammer is back.
Oh my god!
Oh man! All right, well, I think he's gone now. It's okay. We're gonna work through it.
You can't even hear it.
No,
and
the thing is, they probably can't even hear it. It's only us that can really hear it. But we're gonna work through it.
Just know that here it's so loud.
Yeah, so loud. And so if we're off topic a little bit, that's why. But
anyway, so you've had an insane experience with school.
Yeah. From
childhood through middle school, high school, college, all of that. Very unconventional, I would say. An experience that could be looked at as negative in a lot of ways, but also there's been a lot of lessons from it where we went through it together. I've experienced it with you. I have my own perspective. I think you have amazing stories to share with that. And I think the broader topic of the school system in general is just, I think, getting turned around. People are starting to realize a lot of things aren't making sense. And I really want to talk further today about how this saw, I'm going to have to try not to laugh.
No, don't. Just forget about the saw.
I know, I have to.
Nah, you were on a good, you had something good going.
I know. I have to let it not distract me.
Yeah.
But I want to talk more today about that whole experience because we really do have a lot of unique perspectives to share. And I think that the school system is due for a change. I already feel it happening in the air.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that you go.
Honestly,
the saw is throwing me.
Honestly, I agree with everything you said. I feel like my school experience has made me the man that I am today. Without it, I wouldn't have been the person that I am. It really has a deep rooted, overall shaped me into who I am. Like without that, I wouldn't have learned and became the person I am today. And it sounds crazy because I feel like the average kid or the average person that has gone through school and been through school, they don't really look at it the way that I have because of all of the things that I've been through. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've had the craziest stories and craziest journey with school. Like starting off, I mean, to Brittany's point, I do think that the education system is going to go through a shift in the next, I'd say 5 to, I don't want to say 10 years because I feel like that's a way longer.
I know, don't you already feel like it's happening? Like I feel like I notice things changing.
Yeah, things are changing. And I feel like obviously like AI might change up the school system, even with like YouTube. YouTube has literally been like YouTube University for people the last like 10 years. You know, if you want to know something and you want to figure out how to do something, you could just go on YouTube or TikTok or Google or whatever it is and figure out what it is that you're trying to do. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like school is so outdated and a lot of things that you're learning, like I don't need to know what A plus C minus D divided by 3 equals anymore. Like that just isn't what it is. You don't need to know that.
Like when we were in school, there wasn't social media and the way that the internet is now wasn't a thing. So we needed to maybe learn, I mean, it's questionable if we needed to learn about a trapezoid then, but it's like now, especially the things that they made you learn, you could just look up. And so you don't need to like memorize and go through a series of memorization and then just be quizzed on it just to forget it anyway. Because I don't even remember any of that stuff. I feel like it's like, okay, it needs to revamp. Since now that the internet exists, it's a school system from pre-internet. We need a school system for post-internet.
Yeah, which is crazy to think because I feel like with school, right, one of the greatest things that it has taught me are things that has nothing to do with the actual like, what is it called? Curriculum? Like the thing that they're teaching.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the stuff that I was being taught. What I was really like, what I learned the most was through experiences. Things that I've learned with my peers and like the actual structure of school, I guess, was probably the best thing for kids nowadays. Like learning that, okay, at this time you have to be at this class and you know what I mean? Go through things like that. But as far as like the actual, what you're teaching for the most part, I'd say 90%. And that's crazy high, I know, but it's like, do we really need to be teaching this? Like, or is it just kind of like, that's just part of the job description. Like that's what they're telling you to do. So then that's what you're teaching.
Well, like to quickly go through, think of the different, why can't I think of what it's called? Categories of school. What are they called?
Classes?
Classes, but like sections? Like what?
What do you mean?
Like history, math, English. What are those called? Sections?
Subjects.
Subjects. Thank you. I'm forgetting the word. Okay. To quickly go through the different subjects, I could tell you like math, most of that stuff besides basic math, we don't really use, or we use a calculator. It's good to still know basic math, I feel like, but I don't need to know how to do really long division anymore, or maybe here and there.
But the problem is the phone, there's a calculator on your phone. You don't need to know math anymore. It's crazy. It really is.
The algebra and stuff or the trigonometry, like goodbye. What is that? What's it doing for me? So that's that. History, I feel like, is helpful. I mean, you could still Google everything, but it is still helpful, I feel like, to learn about it and learn like the lessons from history. And history definitely repeats itself. Yeah. And that's something that you can always gain value from. So I feel like that's one of the ones, okay, like, but I guess with that, there's things that they maybe focus on certain parts of history where maybe it needs to be tweaked, the things in history that are taught, like what specifics within history that have happened. English, helpful to a point, you know, but like, okay, I could write an essay.
We have spell check on the phone, bro.
No, and like, how often are you really writing with a pen and paper anymore? Crazy.
Honestly.
Even a pencil, forget it, a pencil?
So I just started doing something on my TikTok live streams where anybody that subscribes or donates, I write their name on a shoe. And I was just thinking about that like yesterday. I was like, yo, when was the last time I like had a pen and was writing things out? Like, never.
Right.
Never.
Yeah, it's always typing on the phone, computer. Yeah, I once in a while when I'm journaling, I haven't been really journaling too much, then I'll write. But other than that, I guess like, yeah, I was going to say even a grocery list, write it on the phone. But anyway, English, nice to know how to do an essay, a paragraph, punctuation, spelling, all that. But then beyond that, when it gets into the like citing articles and like
I used to
Oh
hate
my
that. I used to hate
God,
that. Well,
terrible.
I didn't really do any of that because I wasn't really doing work. So I was too busy getting kicked out of school and kicked out of
Right.
class. Like they
Right.
literally just got to a point where they wouldn't even have me do the homework. They wouldn't even have me take the tests because they were like, this kid, we can't have you in the classroom. Get him out of here. Okay.
Yeah, no, you were seriously like how Jake Paul is like the problem child. You were like the same. It was like,
Yeah, honestly, I was the problem child before Jake. Honestly.
honestly, because I think we're technically older than him.
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think we are. I think he's like, yeah.
That song like years ago that he came out with, what was it?
It's every day, bro, with that Disney Channel phone.
Yes, that. But there was one that he was like in some classroom and being like,
Oh, yeah, that was after
like
that. That was
teachers
after,
suck,
Yeah.
school sucks or something.
That was after
and I was
the
like,
everyday,
that
bro.
was literally you in high school.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess to give everyone like a background, because I know I kind of hyped up this whole thing of my experience of school and whatnot, but I guess like my whole thought about school comes to a really dark place. And it's something that like I've kind of suppressed in my life just because I don't like the person I was then. I don't like how people made me feel then. I don't like the way that just every emotion that comes back to school is just never a positive one. So I kind of have just kind of deassociated from that. And yeah, from as long as I can remember, since I mean, I could even go back to like preschool days. That's the only time where I feel like it was a positive experience for me. And obviously I'll get into it, but preschool was a positive thing in my memory because I remember making friends. And that was like when I was younger, my mom
That's really cute.
I know, she would take me near her job. There was a preschool that she would take me to. And like it had nobody in the area. I wasn't like, these weren't people that I knew in my community or like I played sports with or anything. These were like, I was obviously a little kid, but like my earliest memory of school was like coloring, taking blocks and giving them to my friends in the classroom. You know what I mean? Like, so that was like my early on memories. The earliest as I can go was that was good because it had to do with like human interaction and like meeting people and getting to use your personality in, you know what I mean? In that way. But then you fast forward to like, you know, kindergarten to 5th grade for me. Even that was like terrible. You know, terrible. Like I can remember, I mean, I did have a weird experience because my parents worked so much. So I kind of just got dropped off at school and then either my grandparents would pick me up or the bus would drop me off at my aunt's house, like my great aunt's house, which was kind of like a grandparent to me too. So it was like, I was always around my grandparents, like being bad in school and then getting dropped off and told to go home and to chill with my grandparents. Yeah. So it was just, I remember even in 5th grade, like I'm not allowed to say this word because it's a different time, but I literally had my 5th grade teacher call me the equivalent stupid. I'll put it at that. You know, they called me stupid.
Oh, like with
the
an
R
R
word. Yes. I had
Wait, your teacher did?
Yeah.
Wait, how did I not even know this? Wait, we had the same 5th grade teacher.
I know. I'll tell you. It's just something I've never really like. It's just things that are coming up to me right now because we're talking about this. I was in 5th grade. There was like, you know, the special ed kids that were in the class. And I used to like, I was friendly with them, but I was like scared because my teachers kept telling me, if you keep acting this way, you're going to be put with the word. And I remember it scaring the shit out of me because I was like, well, they basically told me that can't say the word. But
for people who aren't watching on a video or just listening, he's doing like I'm
doing a motion to let you guys know what's up. But yeah, so yeah, the earliest as I can remember, teachers were telling me that I was I'm doing the hand motion.
Like, Bobby,
again.
they can't
see me. The people who are listening on audio, you can't see me. But yeah, so that's that for as early as I can remember.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
And I do remember that because I was to call back to our second episode. We were in 5th grade together in the same class. And I do kind of remember, I think you were already in a smaller class, like not yet.
Not
they were
5th grade.
saying you would be.
5th grade, they were like, hey, listen, if you don't want to be like those kids, then you better get your act together. And I remember being like, I took it as, yeah, right, watch this. Like, you're telling me what to do? I'm not doing that. Like, watch, I was like calling their bluff. Like, you're not putting me in those classes. You guys know I don't belong in those classes. So what are you talking about, bro?
But what was different is the reason they wanted to put you in there was behavioral. They felt like you were not getting in trouble. So why would you get in trouble? Like, what would you do that it would make them say that to you?
Looking back on it, I understand why teachers didn't like me. Looking back on it, because I understand, like, school, you're supposed to sit down, do what you're told, listen to what the teachers are saying, do your little work and whatever. I didn't do that. And that I understand looking back. I just had so much ADHD that I couldn't sit down. I didn't care about the history you were telling me to do or what you were wanting me to write down. I wanted to talk to my friends. I wanted to see what my friends were up to. I wanted to see what we were doing after school. I wanted to see what you thought of, like, what was going on in baseball or basketball. Like, I didn't care about the what was being taught. You know what I mean? So
this is my thing though. It's like, was it ADHD or were you just being a kid? And like, boys especially tend to be very more energetic, moving around. I feel like a lot of parents that I've spoken to that have a boy and a girl or whichever, they'll say the boys more run around, whereas the girls will kind of play in one place. And it's like, did you have ADHD? Or were you just being a kid? Like, were you just trying to, like, not want to have to sit in a classroom for 6 hours a day in the same spot and learn about, like, boring things that you don't care about because you're a kid and just wanted to go play outside?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny, though, because I think we've talked about this on another episode, or maybe not. Maybe we just talked about it at home. But it's funny because, like I said, my mom worked, my dad worked. They got up early. They worked that 9 to 5 grind. So they would drop me off at my aunt's, and on the way, it would always be, oh, what are we getting for breakfast? French toast sticks, cereal, you know what I mean? Like, Eggo waffle would be in a bowl in the car, and I would eat that on the way to wherever I was getting dropped off at in the morning. So maybe the foods had something to do with it. I was always eating sugar in the morning. I don't know what it was.
That is a good point, and I do think that doesn't help. I mean, one, I think it's totally okay to be a kid and have a lot of energy, and I don't think that you have to just fit into a certain mold about sitting in a seat and whatever. And then two, with the foods, it's like, that's definitely adding to it. You're having a bunch of sugar, eating that for breakfast, your blood sugar's spiking, and then you're crashing. And then that's affecting your mood, all of that throughout the day.
No, 100%. And that's why, so I get it. Like, I know we're going to get into this, and it gets to a dark place after my first memory of a kid is my teacher telling me, you don't want to be in the slow classes. Like, you better get your stuff together. You don't want to be in those classes. So from there, it gets really dark. But I do understand why, looking back, teachers thought I was such a bad kid, because I just didn't listen. I just didn't want to be told what to do. And I still, even to this day, I don't want to be told what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Because I look at people as, if you don't know more than me in a situation, what am I listening to you for? Well,
something that you would really struggle with as a kid, and I mean, as an adult, but you don't struggle with it now, it's just more you had to deal with it then, was they would tell you what to do and they'd be like, you have to listen to me just because I say. Like, because I'm the teacher and you're a kid. And you'd be like, okay, but why? Like, why do you have authority to tell me what I need to do when you're just telling me I need to do something that I don't agree with and I don't think it makes sense? So why should I have to listen to you? Like, you're not my parent. You're not, like, you're just a stranger that I got put in your class last week at the start of the school year, and now you're telling me that I have to listen to you. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
And they, so much so then when you got older, you may not remember this, they like diagnosed you with like oppositional defiance disorder.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Which just friggin' means that you don't like to listen to authority. You like, okay, whatever that is. It's like so stupid. They just want to put a label on 100 things. The amount of labels, the
amount of things I've been diagnosed with in my life is actually wild because of the school system. And I really do find it. I wanted to touch on two things you just said, and I can't remember because now we're going all over. No, it's okay. We're going to get back to it. But the amount of things I've been like labeled as because of the school system. And I also find that crazy too, that, I guess, we could talk. We'll get deep.
Yeah.
I was put on medication as a kid because of the school system. Like, do you know how crazy that is?
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be told what to do. And if I was told what to do, give me a reason why. My favorite thing as a kid was why. And my mom probably hated it. My dad probably hated it. Any authoritative figure in my life probably hated it. But I just wanted to, if you're going to tell me to do something and change my actions, just give me a reason why. Give me a solid, tangible reason on why I should do what I should be doing. And I would have listened. But it was always, well, I'm the adult, so you have to listen to what I'm saying. What?
Yeah.
Like, give me a reason.
It was never, you just wanted it to make sense. You're like, okay, you're telling me to sit here and that I have to do X, Y, and Z, but why? Like, for what reason? What is that doing for me? And yes, as a kid, maybe it's not all going to make sense because you're a kid, but it's like they would threaten those putting you in that smaller class or whichever because they just didn't know what to do with you. You didn't belong in, say, in the 5th grade in that class. You didn't, like, that wasn't the right path for you. That wasn't like appropriate for what you needed. They just had nowhere else to put you. And they said, we can't keep him straight in this class. He's distracting the other students because he doesn't want to listen. So we just need to put him somewhere because I can't deal with him. So just put him over there. And that became a theme throughout your whole entire school experience, from elementary school all the way through basically college.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Up until college. And we'll get there. We'll talk about that because it was the same thing. And to put it in order for the, people watching and listening, elementary school, that's what it was. It was kind of leading up. I would get in trouble, getting put in like timeout, essentially. Told you don't want to be slow, so don't do this. Then middle school came. And I feel like that was when it's middle school, man. Kids are going through the craziest changes of their life. A lot of kids, let's be honest, I'm lucky and fortunate, mom and dad, I loved you both, that, a lot of kids are dealing with like their parents getting divorced. My parents aren't. So like I was luckily
I was dealing with that in middle school.
Yeah. So like a lot of kids are just going through so many different things in middle school. Me, I hate saying this about myself, but it was bad in middle school. I got suspended. The principal, I used to get have beefs with me and these teachers had like legitimate, like they would see me and I could tell that they were like, yo.
Looking back though, as an adult, like now that you're an adult and thinking about when you're in middle school, you're what? You're 11 to 13, 14?
14, yeah, I think
so you're
13
11 to 12 to 13, 14, depending upon when your birthday is, whatever. Think back now as an adult, those principals, those teachers, they were probably what, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, some maybe 60s.
Maybe early 20s, like just starting a teaching career, right? Like 25.
Not the
26.
principal though.
Well, not the principal.
But yeah, maybe. But think about as an adult, like thinking that way and acting that way toward a 13-year-old. And just like how inappropriate and like weird that is. And how just like, you were a kid, like you were an adolescent. And then the way that some of these adults treated you when you were a kid, and they with, like you said, because I know what you're talking about and I'll let you get into it, but like the beef with the principal or certain teachers, or where they were out to get you. They decided, because I've known you since we were 10. So I went through all of these years with you and I could feel it, even just like interacting with you, even when they barely even knew who I was, but I would see as a neutral perspective just how they would treat you. And I'd be like, whoa, like that's so strange. How once they decided you were this person, you could do the smallest thing and that someone else could do the same thing and it would be over for you.
Yeah, it got to the point where it was like a mental warfare. Like I thought that I was a bad kid, a bad person. I thought that, these people hated me, like literally hated me. And I didn't know why. At the time I knew that I wouldn't listen, but it wasn't like I was fighting people, hitting people, and like saying vulgar things,
right?
Or like trying to, like, that there's certain kids that are like, okay, this is like the kid Sid from Toy Story that
right.
like wants to blow things
like
up and
graffitiing, or they're trying to defame property. I couldn't think of the word. They're very destructive, wanting to like set things on fire, break things, like fight at school, like
I never got in a single
people,
fight,
hurt people, any of that. just or stuff with like a lot of like drugs and this and that, and we can talk about that a little bit, but that really was never you.
Yeah.
It was really more you just had an attitude and you
had
had
an
a mouth on you.
I got a mouth. My mouth is spicy. To this day, my mouth is spicy.
And you had a lot of energy. So
Yeah.
you didn't want to just stay in one place. And I think what it was too, a lot of like quote unquote bad kids maybe are more hang out in a certain group that's considered okay, they're these what were they like a juvenile delinquent or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like in this group and you're kind of cast out. And that wasn't you either. You were very social. You knew everybody. You were friends with everybody. And so I think that was also part of it too, where it's like you had this mouth and then you weren't like a typical quote unquote bad kid in that way. So then it just added a layer where they really didn't know what to do.
They didn't know what to do
you.
because I kind of almost had like power in a sense because I was cool with literally everyone in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't have like a friend group. I was cool with the kids who like to paint, the kids who like to do sports, the goth kids, like all the, I was cool with literally everyone in the school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have like a, you know what I mean? So they probably didn't know what to do with me then too because I'm cool with everybody. It's like, and there's how many teachers in the school? Maybe 15.
Mm-hmm.
There's 300 kids. So if I'm cool with all the kids and there's 15 of you, who's got the upper hand? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just crazy. Like speaking on even middle school, like I know that was some of the worst years of my life just because I was really casted out. Like I got suspended for the most ridiculous things in the
give
world.
like an example. Like what's something that comes to mind that's like an example that was something.
Okay, there's so many, but one of them, I literally got suspended. It was our friend's birthday. I can't remember whose birthday it was, but it was one of my friend's birthday. And I put sticky notes all over my body. Happy birthday, whatever, da 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 da. And I walked into school, and the second I walked into the school, they said, "You have too many sticky notes on you. You're a distraction. Take those all off right now." I said, "This is for my friend's birthday. What do you mean? Like I'm not." It's not like they say anything. It was literally happy birthday on the sticky notes. Mm-hmm. And they said, take those all out, otherwise turn around and go home. And I said, I'm not taking these off. Walked past all the authority, kept going about my day, walking the first period. And they had literally 3 people behind me following me to my first class. Now I'm looking behind my shoulder. Now I'm start thinking, oh, I gotta start talking spicy. Yo, what the fuck are you people following me for? Get away from me. And then I'm walking and then he just said the F word to a teacher. And then I go home. That's 15 minutes into my day, my morning. It's 7:00 in the morning. And I had people around me because I had sticky notes on my body.
Yep.
On my clothes. That's one of them. That's just like for the listeners and the people watching. That's one of the so many. They told me in middle school by 8th grade when I got kicked out of school eventually, and I'll tell you more on that too. But they told me by the end of 8th grade that I had the most suspensions out of anybody that's ever been in the school. Like, what? Imagine your principal looking you in the face and saying, having a file like this big, opening it up. He dropped it on the desk like it was like the Bible, bro. Boom. Opened it up and was like, yeah, you have the most suspensions in the history of the school.
And what grade was that?
8th grade. And I just remember looking at it and being like, that's it. I said to the guy, Mr. Archer, I'll never forget him. I don't even know if the guy's alive anymore. If he is, shout out to you.
I'm sure he is.
Saying, I remember looking at him and being like, well, shit, that's an accomplishment, huh? Like, that's lit. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it almost was like that was my trophy.
Loved that.
Because, and this is another thing that the school system is crazy for, I was the best basketball, probably top 3 baseball player in the school. They had some good kids that actually went to the MLB. So I probably wasn't the best baseball player, but I was top 5.
Yes.
In baseball. Basketball, hands down, I don't even care what anybody tells me. I was the best basketball player in the whole entire school, and I wasn't allowed to play basketball or baseball in my middle school career, period.
Yeah.
Because they said that I couldn't.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like going back to the sticky note thing, it just goes to show how they had it out for you and how it was just like they wanted to say you had a problem with authority, but really they just wanted to be able to control you and have authority over you for no reason and just assert their dominance. And then when you were like, that doesn't make sense, give me a logical reason as to why, like a distraction, like come on. It's like you have sticky notes on you, and other people did too. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, there was other kids in the school doing it.
That was like a thing that people did.
Yeah, for their birthday, it was like, oh, we'll all wear sticky notes.
Yeah, that's like saying when someone would decorate someone's locker or classroom door, it's like a distraction to the class. Like it's just not true. And they just wanted you to like have to cower and be like, okay, I have to listen to you. Let me take these all off. And so then they could be like, haha, like, okay, see, like we put you in place.
Yeah.
And you didn't do anything wrong. But then I remember that day because we would always walk together in middle school. Our 2 classrooms were next to each other, I think after like second period or something like that.
Yeah, we would always wait for each other outside.
Yeah, and I would always walk out and one of your good friends he would be in that class with you. And so then I'd walk out. Sometimes my class would end like a few minutes early, or you'd be one of the last to come out. So I'd be kind of waiting. And like maybe I want to say 50% of the time, but maybe even less especially by the end of the year, 70% of the time you weren't there because you would have gotten kicked out. You were in school suspension. You had to get sent home for the day. You got kicked out of class and were in some sort of in the principal's office. And it would be like rolling the dice each day. I'd walk out and be like, Kyle, where's Bobby? He's like, he's in school again. I'd be like, all right, we're 5 for 7 this week, or we're 3 for 5 or whatever this week.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But they would do that to you for so many things. And then when it came to sports, it was just another way for them to like control you.
It just made me hate school even more. And this goes out for all the people that maybe have a similar experience as me. It made me hate school because not only was I getting in trouble and they were like, I felt like I was being like, watched and like, just like, I was being attacked on the daily.
You were by adults.
That's what I'm saying.
Think about this. By grown adults. You were a child.
Yeah.
You were an adolescent. You were 13, 14, 12, maybe some on certain years, whatever. Like by these grown adults who just didn't know what to do with you. They were literally, you were under attack. Like the things that, like that Post-it story, for example, or the other things that
there's so
many.
much. Yeah.
It's like blows my mind to think as now an adult, it's like, hello, can you not see that the system that you're trying to impose on this person is not working? And then you're taking away, example, sports, baseball, basketball, the one thing that makes him excited and motivated, you're now taking that away forever, essentially. And then he has no motivation. Clearly, the box you're trying to put him in is not a box that works for his learning style, his personality, how he is, and you're just trying to tell him that he's bad because he doesn't fit in with what you think he has to fit in, and you don't know how to do your job effectively enough to make it work. So instead, you have to make him feel like he's a bad person. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Is so insane.
You just hit that on the head. There's so many, like this episode is so all over the place because I feel like I'll never really be able to put into words the things that I've gone through. Like you said, with sports, it made me hate school because I knew, and my friends knew, and peers and everybody knew that I was really good at sports. Like I was one of the best, if not the best in the school. And like, you know how upset that made me? That like basketball season would come around, kids were getting their jerseys. It would be said on the loudspeaker how much this person had like in points that game. And like, I just wasn't able, me knowing that would have been my thing. I would have been able to like excel so much and show these teachers like, look, like this is what I'm good at. You guys say I all suck at everything and I'm the worst. This is what I'm good at. Let me show you. Yeah. And they didn't let me until high school.
Yeah.
So 1 year, and we'll get into that, but let me touch on even middle school when I got put in to the special classes, right?
So because right now we're at middle school.
Yeah, middle school.
So in elementary school, because I want to piece together the timeline even for myself.
Yeah.
But also for everyone listening. You were in elementary school. That was kind of somewhat okay. They just threatened maybe you'll be put in different classes. You were getting in trouble a little bit, but it was like manageable. everyone knew you had, I remember, this is like a side note, I'll never forget, I don't know why it sticks out so vividly in my memory. We were in band class together in the 5th grade, and you played the clarinet for all of 5 minutes before you got kicked out of band forever. And I played the flute, and I never will forget, our band teacher said to you, you were like being like making a joke or something, because like, don't get it twisted, you would be not a class clown energy, but you would be like a little charmer, a little like have a little sass, kind of like be making jokes when the teacher's talking maybe a little bit, or talking to your friends. And so you were doing something like that, and our band teacher was like, you think that you're just gonna get through your whole life with like trying to charm people and your little smirks, like that's only gonna work till a certain point, like people are gonna like start seeing through it, or this, that. And I was like, oh my God. And then you never like were in band anymore. I don't remember, but
and you know what I did? I smiled at him.
You got him good with that smile.
I smiled at him and I said, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's gotten me this far, baby. It's gotten me this far. Listen, that's the thing too. It's always been, I'll be nice to you if you're nice to me. And those people weren't nice to me, so I wasn't being nice to them. And that's how I've always been. If you show love in this life, you're going to receive love back. And if you're a good person, you will have good things happen to you. And those people were not good people to me, so I wasn't a good person to them. That's what it got to. That was the point that I was at with these teachers. If you were talking to me, looking at me, disrespecting me a certain way, even if they looked at me the wrong way, I was ready to fight, bro. Yeah. Not physically, but with the words. I was spicy with the words, bro. And those teachers couldn't handle it. So yeah, like you were saying, the timeline of it, elementary school.
So in middle school, you were still in regular classes, but you were getting kicked out a lot.
7th grade, I got put in a special education class.
In 7th grade.
7th
grade.
So
then you were no longer in the main classes. Yes. You were getting kicked out a lot.
Yes.
And then at that point, you weren't on medication yet. They kept trying to put you on ADHD medication.
So here's the thing, and to give you background, I love everybody in this life, but those classes that I were in, I was not meant to be in. Kids were in wheelchairs. Kids had speech impediments. Kids had, certain things going on where they weren't learning at the same level as other kids, right?
They weren't learning at the same level that other kids were learning. And maybe, yes, you weren't necessarily getting the best grades, but it wasn't because you weren't smart. It was just because
straight behavior.
And it was because you weren't in class half the time, because you were getting kicked out of class. So it was like the class that you were in wasn't for like necessarily behavior stuff. It was more for,
No, I was the only kid in there that dressed nice, had like was person that, you know what I mean? Like was able to communicate and express myself. Like I said, I love all people, but I did not belong in those classes. And the way that they like dangled it over my head all the time and like used it as like a you better be good. Angry. And otherwise, look, you're in these classes. They would speak to me a certain way as if I was in a wheelchair, or like they held me to the same standards as the kids in the class that I was in. And it just freaked me out. It freaked me out. I thought I was going to be like amount to nothing in this life. I thought that I wasn't going to, they literally told me, I remember by the time like the end of 8th grade, and going into high school, they told me like, you're either gonna be dead or go to jail. If you act the way you do, you cannot act this way in real life. And I just remember thinking to myself all the time, like, what am I doing that is that wrong besides not listening to your dumbass requests? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Cause by the time 8th grade came and I wasn't able to do play basketball or sports, getting kicked out of class, getting suspended from school for weeks at a time. I remember even, and this was my breaking point, was 8th grade or 8th grade, beginning of 8th grade. I was in the special class. I just got kicked out of class and sent back to class. So I'm in class now. I'm pissed off. I'm in there like, yo, it's literally second period. Why did I get kicked out of class? They sent me back, whatever. I'm in the class. I'm pissed. I can't remember what I was pissed about, but I was sick. And I'm in the class and the teacher said something about, give us a definition about something blowing up. And I said to the teacher, something blowing the principal up. And they were, oh my God. They freaked out so hard. And like literally were whispering. Like remember when George Bush had like the guy whisper in his ear when 9/11 happened? That's how the teacher was to the other the teacher's aide was. She walked up and was like, you got to get him out of here. Like, this is like, we have to go tell someone. He might like blow the school up. Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh my
they
God.
took it as like a bomb threat.
Yeah, they took it as a bomb threat. So they kicked me out to school. I had a teacher's hearing. I had to go to literally like court with all of the teachers and the principal in this round table with me and my mom and my grandma. My grandma.
Shout out to mom and grandma.
Yo, God bless my mother and my grandma. Because those two would go to war for me, bro.
Kick down
they
the
would go
doors
to war for me against these teachers and these parent, teacher conference, whatever you want. That's not even what it is. It was called a hearing, essentially. Whether it was like literally a judge was there on whether I could go to school or not. And they came to the conclusion that I had to go to the alternative high school in middle school.
It was a high school.
It was an alternative high school, but they took the kids that were bad in middle school and put them into the high school early.
Oh my God.
So I was in there and I remember being scared, bro. These kids were bringing knives to school, brass knuckles. They were smoking weed in the bathroom. They were
and keep in mind, you're 13.
I'm 13 and I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not that kid. I'm not I'm not,
You just wanted to play basketball, and yes, you had an attitude.
Yes.
And obviously saying anything about blowing up a principal is
obviously wild. That was crazy, but I was sick, bro. I was pissed.
But you were pissed. Like you weren't actually gonna.
I would never in my life do some shit like that.
And they knew that because they knew you at that point, but like I get why it was like a big deal, but like to that extreme.
Crazy. Yeah. And I always had like a big heart, and I still do to this day. So like those teachers should have always known, like, yeah, this kid might have a mouth on him, but I wasn't gonna blow the principal up, bro.
You never had done anything violent whatsoever.
Ever.
I never
was
history
violent.
of violence whatsoever.
Ever.
Still to this day, like
not
you're
violent,
not a violent
bro.
person.
Not a violent person. So yeah, that's middle school, they had to have like they thought, and this was really like a pivotal moment in my life. They had to have like is Bobby going to go to this alternative high school for high school, or is he going to go to the, where we went to high school? And it was like this thing. And I remember my mom fighting so hard. She literally had like a PowerPoint presentation, like a like whole like thing on why I shouldn't go to this school.
No, why does this make me want to cry?
No, for real. My mom, me too. Like I get emotional about it because I wouldn't have ended up who I am today if I went to that school. I know it for a fact.
No, because that's what's crazy. They're saying you have these behavioral problems, and then they want to send you there to what? You are the people you hang around with. So then they want to send you and be around people that are going to have a negative influence on you, rather than if you go to the actual high school, you get to be around people like me. I was a positive influence in your life. Your other friends who were just going to school, like we haven't even talked about it yet, how like my perspective of as you were going through all of this, but like we also had mutual friends and we were together during all of this time.
Yeah.
And so we
Shout
had
out to you, bro.
we had like a friend group that like we would go to like the movies on Fridays, and you would be like a normal kid.
Yeah.
And so you could have just hung out with those people and been around those people versus being around in the alternative high school where maybe you're going to have a more negative influence, and then to your point, further perpetuate where you're going to be in a place later in life that you don't want to be, half because of their doing, because they're like, oh, this is who you are. You go be with these kids, and they're going to impact you to then make more negative decisions rather than being like, okay, let's give you a chance in high school.
Yeah, it's so true. But touching on even high school, it was tough. It was really tough, high school. Like,
so wait, before we get into high school, I want to say we went through middle school. You weren't on medication yet. They didn't. Yep. They tried each year, but you would say no.
Yep.
Then, or it just didn't work with you. Whatever. Middle school, I remember speaking about the alternative high school, middle school. Mm-hmm. I was like. So we went through all these years. I feel like people didn't even really know who I was in the school system.
Yeah.
I kind of just like laid low. I was a very much like I do what I got to do type of thing.
You were a good girl, yeah.
Yeah. And then when we got to middle school, I remember like my mom would pick me up a lot of times from school for like I had either soccer, like I was playing travel and stuff. So we would have to go drive far. She'd pick me up from school a few days a week. And I remember each day I'd be like, oh my God, please like have Bobby be inside, because the alternative high school was on the kind of a campus of the middle school. And you would always be outside dribbling a basketball, because that was probably the one thing that like brought you solace, was that there was a basketball hoop there and you would just kind of shoot around. And so then when everyone would the buses would come or people would get picked up from school, you would still be out there because I feel like you got dismissed later or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, please. Like you would have to drive out of the school and pass the alternative high school. And I was like, please don't let her see that he's there, because then my mom's like, we lived in like the same neighborhood. I've known you for forever. She knew you. But then she was always like nervous if you're getting in trouble all the time and this and that. She's like, well, what's going on? Is this going to be, is he okay? Is he
a bad kid?
Just all the concerns. And she knew your heart. She never like thought anything bad of you at all. She just was always concerned during those times. I mean, same. I was concerned too. We all were concerned.
Yeah, no, for real.
But so I just remember being like, oh my God, please don't let her see. Please don't let her see. Because I was like, yeah, he's at school with me. Nothing to see here. We're just at middle school together. Like, he's doing the best. All the teachers love him. Meanwhile, you're like in court about to get like expelled from like the entire school district. Like, so insane. So anyway, then go ahead. That takes us to high school.
So no, yeah, high school
So you were able to go. They decided. So basically, you got expelled from middle school.
Yeah, I got expelled from middle
school. To be very clear.
Yes, to be clear, I got expelled from middle school.
And then they decided that you were actually able to go to high school.
Yep. So I went to high school, normal high school. Shout out to high school. Made me, shaped me, taught me a lot of things. But I was still, the same person, didn't want to be told what to do. Was always walking around the halls, trying to meet up with friends, see what's going on. We lit, dancing in the hallways, acting loud, doing this, doing that, playing basketball. I would literally skip class to go play basketball in the gym, So I had these the IEP meetings. Those things used to stress me out. They used to send me to the school psychologist to try and do all that. Like there was just so many things that I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? Long story short, fast forward, couldn't play basketball my whole entire high school career.
Because they would also give you trouble about your grades.
My grades,
You didn't have the best grades.
I didn't.
And not because you're not smart or capable, but just because, number one, you were in class half the time because you'd always get kicked out.
Yeah.
Number two, you did have and do have ADHD. So it was hard for you to focus and sit there. Like I remember when we were in high school and middle school, I would come over and try to help you with your homework.
Yep.
And you would get so distracted so quick. Like we would try reading like doing a math problem, and it would be like I would have to keep being like, okay, but we're doing this, and come back. And it was very hard for you to stay focused on like one task, especially something that's uninteresting to you. So it was like they never knew how to handle that. And it wasn't like you got those bad grades because you weren't capable. It was just because you couldn't focus and then you weren't in class half the time.
Yeah. I just didn't care. So then, high school was crazy. I got put on medication by the school. They literally said that if you don't take this medication, you can't come to school. So that's probably really tough for my mom. Like she probably didn't know what to do and was just like, she definitely didn't want to put me on medication, but she had no choice.
And I remember, when did you start? Either 9th grade or 10th grade, right?
I think 10th grade maybe.
Because I remember, oh my God, it would be like they did the ADHD medication that was like a patch.
Oh, I did it all. So I couldn't do the pills. Never could swallow a pill. Then my mom was breaking the pills apart, putting them in my applesauce, and I didn't even know. I didn't even know that it was happening. And so my mom is essentially like lying to me, even though it's not her fault. I don't blame her.
Yeah,
but
it's so hard.
Then I finally one day chewed on something in my applesauce, and I was like, what is this? I didn't even know I was being medicated, bro. Until I started realizing I get tired throughout the day. Then I had to take these patches. They would fall off. It was just crazy, bro. The amount of things that the school made me do.
I remember in early days in high school, like 9th or 10th grade, I could so clearly tell when you started taking, I don't know what it was.
I think it was Ritalin.
Ritalin or something
like
that.
It might have been maybe something else.
You were a zombie.
Yeah.
You were walking around the halls with your personality was gone. You were it was the weirdest thing. I feel like it made you feel sick.
Anxious. So I didn't know what anxiety was back then, but now knowing as a grown adult, I was anxious. I had this tingly feeling all day. I felt like I needed to jump out of my own body. And it was it was crazy.
It seriously makes me so upset. It's so it's just so upsetting to me that because like your job as a teacher, as a principal, as a whatever, you are supposed to be able to help this person. This person is not working in this like square mold that you're trying to fit someone in. And instead of saying like, oh, what can I do to, I feel like this also is like falling.
It's okay. You're good.
I like want it to hold it back up.
You're good.
I feel it's a job as a principal or as like a teacher to be able to say like, okay, this person is not fitting in this mold that we're putting them in. What can I do? What can be tweaked? What can we add for them to make this experience better for them, make them okay? But instead it's like, you know what? We don't know how to deal with you. So we're just gonna put you on a drug so that way you sit down and shut up. Yeah. Essentially. And you're going to lose all the spark of what makes you you. And just so that way we can manage you, because otherwise you're unmanageable. We don't know how to do it, but it's not our problem that we don't know how to manage you. It's your problem.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's wild. And I remember being on that stuff and like falling asleep in class, and then I'm getting yelled at that I'm sleeping in the class. But the reason I'm falling asleep is because you guys have me on this medication, but then now you're yelling at me because I'm falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And they would like literally pull me out of the class because I was sleeping.
And even like, to this day, I feel like we talk about this all the time, how I feel like it forever impacted how your relationship with food and your appetite, because it made you all day long. It suppressed your appetite because Adderall, Ritalin, whatever suppresses appetite. So then you wouldn't eat all day because you lost your hunger cues. Yep. And now you still do that to this day where you won't eat all day long because you're just so used to like not eating from doing that through all of high school.
It would make me sick when I ate. I remember when I would be on medicine, if I ate, it would like make me sick, nauseous, want to throw up, whatever. So yeah, that definitely impacted like who I am today 100%. But then to fast forward, senior year came, and that was like the best year of my life. Not now, but I'm saying like during those, senior year that was like the best year of my life at that time.
At that time, all the previous years,
because, you know, I was able to play basketball. I found a teacher who, I'm not going to say their name, but this teacher really just took me under their wing, helped me, and like guided me through school, and like was able to, I told her, she was like, what can I do to get you to graduate? What is the thing that you want to do? And I told her, I want to be able to play basketball. Like, I want to show the world what I'm good at. And she was like, all right, so that's the goal. That's what we're going to lock in on. And it was crazy. Like, it got to the point where like, she was like my babysitter. Like the school knew, like, you know, anything that went wrong throughout the day, if I did something, they would go to her and check in on, like, be like, yo, you got to control him.
I remember that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it got crazy in that way.
And was that the only year you could play basketball, was senior year?
Yeah. So I played basketball senior year, and I finally got to play because she helped me get through and do what I needed to do. I
remember too, like all the other years, just to speak on the sports stuff quickly, like it would also be like, how everyone would go and wear the jerseys. We were together for basically all of this time. And I was always sad because I was like, I can't wear Bobby's jersey, even though he wants to play, because you weren't able to play. And then like all your friends would be on the team, but then you couldn't be a part of it. It would be so upsetting. Or like you'd play for half the season and then they'd be like, you can't, or your grades weren't high enough or whatever, or they would be, but then they'd say, for behavior, like they'd always find some reason. So then senior year, when that came and you were able to like actually play, it ended up being such a like
crazy, beautiful
experience, because you were finally able to be like, look, see, I mean it. Like I can actually play. And I feel like a lot of the teachers, it gave them more respect for you too in a lot of ways.
100%. So like you said, I'll give like a quick like background. Every year, basketball tryouts would come. I would go to them. I would bust everybody's ass in the practices and the tryouts. I'd be in there killing. And then it would come down to it, and the principal would come into the practice and be like, Bobby, what are you doing here? You failed math. You can't be here. Get out. And I'd be like, wait a second. And even the coaches would be like, yo, he's like the best kid in the gym. What are you talking about? You know? And I remember sophomore year, I was a sophomore, 10th grade. I would have made varsity if I was able to play. And that's like an accomplishment. That's like you're one of the younger kid, like, you know what I mean? And I couldn't do it. Junior year, I mean, let's be honest. I broke my wrist, but I still wouldn't have been able to play. They weren't going to let me play. Even though they said I would have been eligible, they weren't going to let me. Broke my wrist in a terrible way. Couldn't play. Senior year comes. I'm able to play. I set a record in the school for the most 3-pointers made in a season. We had an incredible season. The school was jumping. Everybody was rocking. I remember hearing my name called on the speaker like I always wanted to.
You could actually be in the pep rallies.
The pep rallies.
We were like, it was, and anyone who knows from high school, all that, even college sports too, it's like, it's more than just this actual sport. It's like a whole experience for that, especially that season. Like it's about like whenever you have the games and everyone's excited all week and you're like, everyone goes to watch with their friends and they're cheering your name and like you get to get called out. You have the pep rallies.
Bro, I was in the newspaper. I was in the newspaper. I was getting shout outs on Twitter. There was videos of me on News 12. Like it was like, cool. You know what I mean? It was like such a like impactful thing. So that was really cool. Graduated high school by literally the day of graduation. They told me I was able to graduate, which was like crazy.
What do you mean?
Like I remember it came down to the wire. Like I wasn't supposed to graduate. I was supposed to get left back.
Yeah, that was a
and
whole
I still
thing.
think that strings were pulled behind the scenes to that teacher that I told you. I think that
it just goes to show too, like I have a lot of friends and family who are teachers or work in the school system. And it just goes to show how those teachers that really care and are just good people and don't want to just say, listen, I don't know how to deal with you, so it's your problem to a kid and kind of just cast people out. The teachers that do really care and put in that extra effort and thought and believe in kids, a lot of it was like no one believed in you. And once you had this like red X on you from middle school, that carried all through high school. And any teacher, even before they met you, already decided who you were. Yep. And then any small thing that would happen would just validate in their mind, oh, yep, he's a bad kid, he's this person. And those teachers that didn't do that and gave you a chance and believed in you, what that's for you or other kids in general, it makes such a difference. Like it really makes a world of a difference.
No, I mean, I'll never forget those two specific teachers that really, believed in me. And it's funny that you say that because when I graduated, the teacher gave me a bracelet that said, believe in you. And fast forward all of these years and I came out with a sneaker that was called the Believe in You. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. And like, school telling you that you can't be something or do something or, school shouldn't determine, the level of success that you're able to achieve in your life. Because like I said, if I listened to all of these teachers my whole life.
No, they literally told you that you were going to be dead or in jail, that you were never going to do anything. You needed to get your life together because otherwise you're never going to be any sort of successful. Yep. They would so much so even like loop, I don't know, I guess it didn't happen to your brother as much, but they would even loop me into all this. Like how you were saying the teachers would come into the gym and be like, you can't be here, you can't play. They would do, I'll never forget, I was in, I don't even think I was sitting with you. I think I was sitting by myself. They had this, I guess like program or something in high school where if you played a varsity sport, you didn't have to go to gym for the season that your varsity sport was playing. Yeah. And I always played varsity soccer. So I always was like, okay, bet I'm gonna not go to gym for the fall semester or whatever it was. And so I would go to the library and just like do work and like study and just chill. Like, oh my God, so crazy. And I remember in high school, one of the principals came into the library when I think I was literally sitting by myself or like with one of my friends.
No, I was there.
Oh, you were there?
I was there for that. Yeah, I was there for that.
Because I thought that you weren't.
No, it might have happened again, but I remember specifically one time us being in the library and it was what you said.
So he came up to me and was like, Brittany, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be in gym? And I was like, no. He was like, you have gym this period. I was like, hello? Like, how do you even know my name? Like, I've never even been to the principal's office in my life. And then I'm like, no, I play varsity soccer, so I have gym off this semester or whatever they called it, quarter. And he's like, goes and like checks. He's like, really? And whatever, and goes back to the office, checks, and comes back. It's like, okay. I looked into it. That's true. I'm like, I know. Like,
Yeah.
what?
You kind of got a taste of it.
They came out, they came out to get me because then toward the end of high school, they started to realize we were dating.
Yeah.
I think for a while, it just kind of like laid low, but then they started to realize we were together. And so then they started doing little things like that to me or pinning things on me. And I got, small taste of it just to show they do it to me. I didn't even do anything. Like I was like, for the most part, a pretty like good student, like followed the rules. So I couldn't even imagine how it was for you. There was a few times I got kicked out of class. There was a few times where, even just my own experiences where teachers would tell me things and I wasn't even like a bad kid. So it just goes to show how not all teachers are created equal and how it's how there are just essentially these strangers that you put your kids with you don't know their values. Yeah. You don't know what they believe in. You don't know what they do when they go home. You don't know anything about them. And you just have to trust these people that they're going to treat your kids in a positive way and have a positive impact. And I know probably most people on earth who went to school have an either negative or positive experience, at least one, with a teacher or someone in their school system that impacted them. And they still remember it till this day. Like they have such an opportunity to have such a positive or negative impact.
100%. I mean, think about the teachers that I was just saying that like, helped me graduate high school. Like I'll never forget those people because those were the only teachers that were ever,
I'll never forget that Mr. Billy in the, I think 9th grade told me I wanted to be in the honors, I think it was biology class. Mm-hmm. And I would like joke around in his class a little bit with my friends, but like I was a good student for the most part, whatever. And you would have to like make recommendations for who should be in honors bio or something like that. And I don't think he recommended me. And so when I went to him, I said, okay, I'm going to go to the guidance counselor and I'm going to tell them I still want to be in that class. Like, I think I'll do well. I really want to be in honors bio next year. And he goes, I'm going to tell everybody in this school and make sure I tell everybody that you should not be in that class. I did not recommend you for that class and you are going to fail. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm still doing it. And I did it and I did perfectly great. Thank you so much. But it just shows like, who says that to like a 15-year-old? Who says that?
You know what?
Like,
you know what I think the problem is with public school is that these teachers, let's be honest, most of teachers nowadays are becoming teachers because of the pension, the 401k, and stable income. They don't have even business being a teacher. You know what I mean? They're just doing it for stability. So now you're this person that is in this school and you're teaching these kids. We don't, like you said, don't know the morals, don't know your background, don't know anything like that. And it's really like you're a babysitter for these parents who have 9-to-5 jobs. That's what I think of public school nowadays. It's like you're a babysitter for kids. That's what you are. So do your job and babysit these kids. Don't be upset when you got to actually be a babysitter. Because like I said, most of the time, they're just doing it for a stable income and a 401k. Like it's not.
I think it's hard too because it's like, and this goes into kind of the broader conversation we're talking about on like where the school system is going to be headed and what the things that are wrong with it and all that. Because it's where do you bridge the gap between parenting at home and then like what the school should do? Mm-hmm. Because I think it's also not a school's job or a teacher's job to raise a kid in a lot of ways.
They shouldn't. Yeah.
That's not their kid. They're just supposed to provide the education. But with that being said, when someone as young as, I don't know, people even start in preschool and all of that, and then get to elementary school, middle school, high school, you spend 6 hours a day at school? That's a long time. So they're with these people all day. And even though maybe they didn't sign up to parent them or teach them certain like lessons other than like a history lesson, they are actually learning a lot of values and different things from these people because they spend a lot of time with them. And the way that the school is structured provides a lot of lessons and structure for what people are going to carry into their adult life. So it's a weird balance between the teachers not being responsible to have to like quote unquote babysit, but at the same time, they they do have that responsibility, and that just is kind of inherent with the job. And it's like parents should be doing that at home, but then not all parents are. And so that must be really difficult as a teacher. But then there are those teachers, like I was saying, all my friends and my family members who are teachers or in the school system, I know for a fact, I'm obviously not their student, but I know for a fact, just because I know them, that they do amazing and that they would be great teachers, and they are great teachers, and they have such a positive impact on all of their students.
Yeah.
And I know how much they care whenever they talk about it and the stories they tell me. And those are people who it's like, okay, like you really were meant to do something like this, and they want to be there. They want to have that value and add to these kids' lives. Whereas people like what you're talking about, some of these people who just do it because they don't know what else to do, and then they're just like, okay, I get a nice pension, or I get paid, I get the summers off, or I didn't know what else to do, so I became a teacher. And then they've been there for too long, and maybe they should retire, and they're mad at everything. They're jaded because they've dealt with too many kids, and then they don't realize how the things that they say and do are gonna, like, I just remember that story. That's one story. I could name like multiple other stories, and I still remember that, and that's like 20 years later.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like you said, the rework of the education system in public school in general is going to be happening, I think, very soon, and it should. It should. It definitely
there
should.
needs to be a change. I already foresee it. I feel like it's becoming more normalized, that people are becoming more open to like homeschool. I've heard a lot of conversations around, even you mentioned it before, but like how AI is going to impact the school system and all of that. I read something or heard something that in like 10 years or something, they were like, all teachers will be replaced by AI.
No, see,
that
that I don't think should be a thing, because the human interaction is a good thing when it comes to school too. Like I said, I think that was the most important thing for me, was having that human interaction. So I think AI replacing teachers shouldn't be a thing. It is scary that AI can answer any question that you have in not even 1 minute. It's like literally almost instantly. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I don't think that should happen. But I do think some rework of what is being taught in public schools should happen.
Yeah,
pretty soon.
For sure. Something's going to need to change. Something's got to give. I feel like you can already feel it in the air that things are changing just based upon what we're talking about before, like what's relevant. And I think it's becoming a lot more normal, like I said, to think of homeschool.
Yeah.
I think that's something that with our kids, we always talked about, that we potentially want to homeschool them.
Yeah,
and this was for years, like for the past, like I'd say 5 years.
Yeah, even before it started becoming normalized, because it's like, with my experience, our experience of school, it's like,
it's like after you had that experience in school, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it with our kids. And I also just think like you mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but the best things that I've gotten from school are those social relationships with friends and and just like learning how to have some sort of structure. It's more just about like, okay, I have to wake up early and I have to go here and then I have to go here, and kind of like learning how to have some discipline. But I think also a lot of the school system is about just teaching you how to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And so that way you could be someone else can be your boss. It doesn't really teach you about how
Yes. Oh my God. We didn't even touch on this. This episode could be so long if we needed it to.
I know.
It's like crazy, because that's so true. It's like follow the rules. And the way I always thought, there's always a workaround for rules. Rules are meant to be broken. Don't put me in this box. I will break out of it and I'll make a triangle.
And that's why you do what you do.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, speaking on it, I know the timeline of this episode, we've been all over the place, but to kind of like wrap things up is like college. I didn't graduate college, and I like to consider myself a successful person in many different ways, not just financially, but emotionally and just stability, like all of the ways I like to consider myself a successful person, emotionally, like just many different ways, spiritually, like every way I like to consider myself. And I work on myself a lot, and I work on a lot of these things, and I work very hard. But You know, it doesn't mean that like it's automatically like, oh, I'm successful. No, you have to work every day at yourself, at whatever business it is that you're working on or towards. Just leave the mic alone. What are you doing?
No, okay, that's just the cat's out of the bag. This mic is like was up here when we started, and it just
we're doing construction to the studio. We're doing construction to the studio.
It's
Leave
driving
it alone.
me nuts. I don't know how to fix it.
All right, but yeah, like I was saying,
it's over here.
College is not needed in order to be successful. I feel like college, you know, unless you're going for like a specific, to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be a dentist, like unless you're doing one of those things that is like a tangible, like you need to be educated in whatever it is you're trying to do, go off and do it. But college, besides that, we haven't even spoken about that. College is the biggest scam, one of the biggest scams in America by far. And I stand on that. These colleges, they are making you go into debt. They don't care about you. Most of the time, you're not even using that degree that you paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to you know, have and obtain. You're not even using it. It's like, I believe that college is one of the biggest scams in America, and it's open in front of our face, and people don't even care. And I feel like I said, you're not going to need a degree to do what you want to do and become quote unquote successful, because it's a scam. It is a scam.
I mean, I don't use really my degree.
You don't use your degree?
I think the fact that like I have a bachelor's degree is like was used when I applied to my job in the sense of like, okay, you need a bachelor's degree, but I don't use anything from my degree in what I do. Like I was a human biology major. And
what does that even mean?
Do anything with that.
What does that even mean?
I learned a lot of like anthropology and anatomy.
What is an anthropology?
And anatomy and physiology.
That's all crazy words.
Like the study of humans and stuff. But I don't
you're really
use any
smart.
of that. Thanks. You're really smart.
Thank you.
I don't use any of it though.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, it's like, okay, if you're going to be a surgeon, but if you're...
You got to know how to work on my heart if you're a surgeon.
Yeah,
go
like
to school.
I don't want someone who didn't...
Yeah, go figure it out. You know what I mean? That I get. But if you're... I don't even want to talk bad on like these majors because I'm sure we know people that have them. But it's like, you know...
No, but I mean, listen, teach their own. If someone wants to go to college and they think that that's their path, go off.
People spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go party and do drugs at college.
Yeah, I think
that's what is that?
What I learned most, similar with high school, middle school, what I learned most from college was things that I didn't learn in class. Like I don't remember 95% of the things that I learned in class. I couldn't tell you, couldn't recite things. Most of what I learned was about like doing my own laundry, being able to socialize with other people, put myself out there, go to a place where I know not a single person and have random roommates, and being able to be really vulnerable and open and go ask someone if they want to go get lunch with me and not be scared. Being able to navigate things without like my mom or my parents right down the road, independence, balancing relationships with home and away and all that, those like life skills. None of the things that I learned in class I actually use. So I think it's beneficial for that, but that you can also get in real life. You don't need to necessarily go to college. And it's so true. Some of these colleges are like $50K a year, probably more now. It's nuts.
It's wild. Yeah. College is just a crazy thing. So that's why I think, you know, I would never push it on our kids. Depending on what they want to do. I do think
not
structure.
Even college, just homeschool in general. Like I even think like elementary school.
No, we're homeschooling our kids 100%. And y'all, anybody listening or anybody that knows us personally might think we're crazy, but we are homeschooling our kids. We will still give them community and interaction with other kids their age, but they will not be in a public school. There's no way.
And when I say homeschool, what I'm thinking, and again, we don't have kids yet, so I'm gonna have to do like research on it and see what the options are when that time comes. But my thought is that there's different kind of like programs and stuff that you can do. I don't envision that I'm gonna be the one like teaching them math. No. I'm pretty sure that there's programs where it's like a homeschool program. And they do something like that. So I'm going to look for something like that, but that is more my thought, where then it's more focused on actual tangible things that are beneficial to learn, not just things to check off a box that they're never going to use again. And then they can get like, I want them to be out more outside and just like living and doing things and getting experience of life and learning from that. Because to your point, you don't need all these things of education like you did in the past. The internet didn't exist when all of these structures were put in place. You couldn't just go on YouTube and learn how to, I don't know, make resin tables and then sell them on Etsy. Like, you couldn't just do that. Like,
yo, that is so true though. It's like, yeah, like to your point, homeschooling is a thing and we're going to have a structure around it. I'm not going to be the one teaching them math or whatever, but if I have to, and like, you know, little things here and there, obviously I would do. But I also think like, let's teach our kids how to use Chat GPT properly, or how to do their taxes, or like, be financially like responsible and like things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was never taught any of those things. What a credit card is, what like why that impacts you in a positive way, why you need credit, what the things that actually matter in your life. The school system does not want people educated in things that matter because they don't want you to be a successful person.
Yeah.
They don't want you to be someone that thinks freely. They don't want people like that in society. School, like you said, is made to keep people to follow the rules. People are starting to wake up that the rules can be broken and you can still be successful.
And that those rules that they want you to follow are what lead you to just be a really good employee.
I'm not trying to be an employee, bro. Yeah. I'm the boss. I'm my own boss. I could say that proudly and loudly, bro. Like, I wake up, make my own schedule. I check into myself, and guess what? I wasn't supposed to do that. They told me that I wasn't going to be anything. So maybe me not listening, always questioning why, always wanting to be different, maybe that is a superpower. And you kids should lean in on yourself. As long as you're coming from a good place with good intentions and you are a good person, believe in yourself. Like, don't always listen to these people, what these people are telling you, because most of the time they don't know what they're talking about. They're being told what to tell you. So why am I listening to someone that's being told what to tell me? But you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to listen to my own intuition. I'm going to listen to what I feel. And that's always been my thing. That's always been what it is. Never been a bad kid. I just have always listened and believed in myself. And I knew I was going to get to where I am. I just didn't know how it was going to look. And I'm thankful for all of the things that I've been through and, you know, what has gone on in my life, because it made me who I am, and I wouldn't be here without any of it. So it's like, I'm thankful for everything that's going on in school.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good because it got you to where you are, but it does show. It's like they tried to box you in, you couldn't be boxed in, and you figured out your way. It's just looking back. If you would have told those people when you were in middle school and getting expelled or whatever that you'd be where you are today, I'm sure they would have like laughed in your face.
I make more money than my teachers. I make a lot more money than my teachers. I drive a lot nicer cars than my teachers. So y'all can say whatever you want about me, but now I'm laughing at you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is true about how it's like the school system is set up to, they don't want you to know how to like properly understand credit or how to like do your taxes or how to like
or start a business, open up an LLC, how to
they don't want you. That's almost like another episode too, but they don't want you to know any of that. It's like, why am I learning about trigonometry?
What Christopher Columbus did, bro?
When I could be learning about, I could be learning about I don't
how to better yourself. How about some internal work? How about we do that? How about we teach kids how to properly regulate their emotions, bro?
That would
the
be
school
great.
system is so lame. It's so lame.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's definite changes, and I
Changes
look
are
forward
coming.
to seeing what will happen, because I think that it is starting to happen where it's being looked at. I think a lot of the structures are being relooked at, and they should be. Like, they're so antiquated and old, and like they don't serve a lot of people. Like, literally most people out there don't use their college degree for what they're doing today. And if they do, a lot of them aren't happy with like what they're doing.
And it set them so far behind. Imagine being $300,000 in debt in today's economy, and then you're like unleashed out into the world, and you can't even use the piece of paper that they told you needed in order to make money
Yeah.
Now you're in this situation. What do you do now? You got to go get a job that has nothing to do with why you just wasted 4 years of your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, bro. Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense in the comments. Reply to this, talk to us, because I don't get it. And you know what? to leave off on something, because there's so many other things that we could talk about, and I feel like there's so many things we didn't even touch on, and this is just one episode about school. We know changes are going to come, and I'm thankful for them, and I'm thankful for the experiences that we've been through. But I'll say something before we get out of here.
Okay, say it.
I lived with one of my teachers.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
For a year.
Yeah.
I lived in one of my teachers' houses for a year straight, acting as if I was one of their children. I'll just leave that there for you guys to take it out. And I've never spoken about this to anyone. I won't get into too much detail, but just so you guys know, I was made to feel so crazy that it resorted down to go live with one of your teachers, and hopefully that can help you.
Yeah.
And I'll leave that out in the open for the public to do what they do with it.
What does that mean?
I lived with one of my teachers in their home.
I know. I visited said home.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like a movie can be written on that, bro.
No, it's seriously.
Like there could be an actual movie written on my experience with the school system and me living with one of my teachers. There should be a movie done about that.
No, there really should be. Crazy.
Insanity.
Crazy.
Insanity.
I think like now that like we're talking about it, I'm trying to think when you pivoted to, I feel like our whole lives, it was always like, Bobby's kind of in trouble. He's trying to figure it out. It's so difficult. It's like he needs this support. And like, when did you pivot to just, that's not the case anymore? It's like, when? I'm like, we arrived here, but I'm like, when did it really change? I feel like, I guess later, a few years after college.
I know when it changed.
What?
When I started making my own money.
Right.
And that's another thing. That's a whole thing for another episode. But money is so evil. It just lets people like, number one, control you, and also like put you in this like, why all of a sudden I don't want to say this. It sounds crazy because I'm not the same person who I was, but my morals, my values, my heart is still the same as who I was since I was a little kid. So why now, just because I'm financially stable, that all of a sudden I'm not who I was? Like, you know what I mean? Like people let money dictate, oh, now he's okay because he has money. You know?
Yes.
It's like, I don't know. It's just crazy, bro. The world is crazy.
People used to still worry, but then once you were financially independent.
Yes, that's the right word.
Then people were like, oh, okay.
I guess he's all right. I guess he's okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
I guess all these shenanigans that he's doing seem to be working.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted. I was always a hustler, bro. I was always hustling no matter what. Some things, you know, we could say on camera. Some things, I worked in a restaurant. For a long time. I got made fun of for a long time.
No, I will never forget when someone
tweeted at me.
Yeah. You were starting social media.
Yep.
And well, you had been doing social media
for a little
few
bit.
years.
Few years, maybe like 2 years.
And I think you were just starting streaming at that time. Like when you used to
He's gonna play video games you think you're gonna make money on video games?
You used to stream video games when like Twitch and Mixer and all of that was like just really becoming a thing. Like that's pretty new.
Yeah.
And I feel like 5 years or whatever. Anyway, you had just started around the time when that stuff was starting to blow up. And someone tweeted like, people are out here like something like acting like you're on social media, but like I saw you like delivering a pizza or something like that. It's like, bitch, it's not a secret. Like I'm building my social media career and I'm also working on the side to be financially responsible and be able to fund myself as I build this career. Like,
yeah, no, I'll never forget that. That motivated me.
And I'm proud of it.
That motivated the shit out of me because I remember that. It was like I was a little embarrassed because I put myself out there on the internet so much that I would be like, oh, what if someone sees this and then like I'm delivering pizza or I'm a waiter in a restaurant or whatever. And I remember that was like such a thing for me for a long time until it got to the point where like, yeah, you weren't there with me when I would wake up, have to be in the restaurant at 10 a.m., would work from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., then get home and have to stream from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. and then wake up and do it all again the next day. You know how hard and how long I did that for? Yeah. People think that like this shit happened overnight. Like I've been doing this and working my ass off for a long time. And I think one of the things like school, like maybe could teach and like implement is like working hard is a real thing. Staying consistent is a real thing. And believing in yourself is a real thing. And I did all three of those things for as long as I could. And still to this day, and for as long as I'm alive, I will do all three of those things. And maybe that's things that they could, you know, implement in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But I did live with my teacher. So.
But don't forget.
I did live with my teacher. So that was crazy. But yeah, this episode was really wild. Thank you for getting everything off and listening to me. And also telling some of your experience. I feel like you have your own experiences too. That like, this was like a therapy session for me. So I feel like a lot of it, I was just getting it off. But
no, it's so interesting and it's wild. It's truly wild.
We didn't even really get into a lot of the actual things that went down. But like, you know, I don't want to like harp, but yeah, school shaped me into who I am. It was a very difficult time in my life for not only me, but the people around me, my mom, my dad, you, everyone, my grandparents, like my little grandpa. I love you so much, my grandpa. And he's not with us, but he was the one that would pick me up from school and like talk to me about what was going on. You know what I mean? And like, what even happened? What's going on? Like, you're not this guy. Like, why are they making you sound like this guy? You know? And I'd be like, Grandpa, I remember being in his little punch buggy and he like picked me up. I just got suspended. Come and get your grandson. He comes and gets me and I'm talking to him and he's like, he just didn't understand. He was like, I don't get it. Like, you're just like a nice guy. Like, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everyone involved, that to say is like so many, it impacted so many people in my life. And school will be something that I will forever have this like hateful, negative things towards. But at the same time, it made me who I am. So I'm thankful for all of those things because it made me like be able to understand like, what's the word? Resilience. Like be resilient and like just stand ground, believe in you, stay true to what you believe in, you know what I mean? And just don't take no for an answer and always question why. Don't let people tell you what to do without knowing why you're doing it.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah, because asking why, I feel like is part of why you work for yourself.
I might get why tattooed on me, honestly.
Just the letter Y.
Just the letter Y or Y with a question mark. Because that was really, that got me to where I am. So
yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say about school?
I'm excited to see where things will go.
Yes.
I think that before COVID, it was like homeschooling your kids. What's that? That's so
They thought
weird.
you were
That's
crazy,
so crazy.
right? Yeah.
But now, 5 years or so after COVID, it's more people are really thinking about it. And I think that whether it's people moving more toward homeschool programs and that looking different in that way, or the school system just getting a big like
revamp
axe to it and figuring out like, okay, we got to take this apart and put it all back together.
Yeah.
Something like that is bound to happen soon because I think we're teaching our kids on, ironically, I'm just thinking your shirt says, don't blame the youth, right?
Can't blame the youth.
Can't blame the youth, and we're talking about the youth.
Shout out to Thread Beast. They sent me this. This whole outfit is from Thread Beast. Shout out to them.
We are teaching the youth these things and setting them up for failure, you know?
Yeah,
we're not
it's
setting them up to be successful in the world that we currently live in.
Ding, 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 ding. That's so true. That's so true. It's like we're setting kids up for failure. Also, can't blame the youth. It's like these teachers that are teaching the youth are then mad at the youth, but you're the ones that are teaching the youth.
And you're the adult. Like, I
Be
think
the adult.
that's what's different. It's like, you're the adult.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked with adolescents in my career before, and I still do to this day. And there are many times where I want to say certain things where I'm like, you are so rude.
Yep.
And I didn't even do anything to you. Or like, who
are you speaking to?
What would your parents say about this? Or thoughts in my head about whatever. But I don't say those things. I lead with empathy and compassion, and I try to understand while also holding like a firm, loving boundary. And I think your whole experience in the school system, people didn't do that enough. It was very like a boundary in a power struggle way, and treating you like as if you weren't like a kid who was just trying to figure it out. And you weren't, like,
it's sad too, because I look back on it and like, damn, we're really getting down some holes here. But like, I look back on it and it makes me sad because, like you said, there's a fine line between the parenting, and I just like feel bad for my parents. Like, you know, I always, that was one thing that always like I would think about, and like it made me really sad that my mom had to go through it. And I also have a dad. I'm acting like I don't have a dad, but my dad, that's another thing. He didn't have anything to do with my school like process. He didn't have anything to do with it, because that's another thing. I feel really bad. I feel like it embarrassed him. I feel like he was embarrassed by it. So like, and that's another thing that like, then school is affecting my home life with my parents, because it's like, I feel like I'm a bad kid. Like I'm, what's the word? Like, I failed them. Like they, you know what I mean? Like I'm failing my parents because I'm bad in school. So now my dad doesn't want to talk to me because I'm bad in school. You know what I mean? Or like something like that, where like it then affects my relationship with my parents.
I'm
like,
sure it made their marriage more
Their
difficult.
marriage definitely went, my dad was probably like, what the hell is wrong with our kid? And then my mom is just trying to figure it out. She was the one that was really involved.
I remember she would always say that it was one of your teachers or something, like they came to your house, or maybe it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she was like, she would say how the teacher was expecting to go to your house and it be like a broken home and just like things all like just all over the place, either whether disheveled physically in the home, but also just in terms of the whole structure of the family and that whole like the family system. She was like, she goes there and she's like so surprised that you have like a beautiful home and like normal, like loving parents. And like, she's like, oh.
Yeah, no, I mean,
your mom's like, what did you expect? Like, what do you think? Like, because they try to put you in this box and think they know who you are, but they really don't know who you are.
And that's the one thing I will say. Yeah, it always, that's something maybe I don't know. It's like I said, a therapy session. I just am like, I always felt bad that like, you know, school has such a hold over so many different things in your life, whether it be with your family or mentally, or just like so many different things with medication, like all these different things that can take control over your life, all because of the education system. It's like, it's scary, it's crazy. And like you said, I hope that a change comes. I hope I can be part of that change at some point. That's something that I always wanted to, you know, I've never talked about this online. I'm a content creator, influencer, whatever you want to say. And it's like, I've never spoken about this, and I would love to have some type of like involvement in the school, like whatever I could do. I don't even know what that would look like, but I would love to have some impact on like some type of change within the school system, because it impacted my life in such a way, you know, and our life, both of our lives in such a way.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
definitely. It would be really cool if you could go back to one of our schools and speak. They probably wouldn't want you there because you'd be like, don't listen to these MFers.
Nah, maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I was the teacher that we were speaking about before was saying they wanted me to go there at some point. There's our friend the Hammer. All right, well, listen.
Our friend the Hammer wanted to say bye.
Wanted to say bye. Listen, guys, I don't know. Thank you for listening. If you listen, this was our longest episode yet. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
If you guys do listen, watch, view anywhere on any platform, make sure to subscribe, like, rate us, leave comments so we can engage with you guys. Clips have been going out everywhere on all socials. Thank you everyone that's been tapping in on those. We love you. We're going to be reading comments and answering comments on the pod every episode. So stay tuned to that. And I love you guys, man. I love you. Brittany, you have anything else you have to say?
Love you guys. Thanks for listening. This was interesting. It was cool. I feel like there's still so much more we could dive into.
Yeah, there's so much. Maybe
we'll have to come back to it.
Maybe we'll structure. Yeah, we'll come back to it and we'll actually deep dive. Maybe if you guys have questions about anything that has to do with school, leave them and we'll answer them. So yeah, love you guys. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and give me a kiss.
Love you guys.